So just in the last decade, the number of people with diabetes has doubled. And if you think about diseases, there are not many diseases that have doubled in a decade and that are expected to continue to increase dramatically. And probably the scariest of the statistics, to me, is what's predicted for our children. So a baby born now, 1/3 of them will develop diabetes in their lifetime, 1 out of 3. And if it's a Hispanic girl, half of them will develop diabetes. So imagine half or 1/3 of society having diabetes. How will we deal with that in terms of our healthcare system? We completely cannot even fathom how we would be able to take care of that many people with diabetes. And why is it that diabetes is such a big issue? So what, they all have diabetes? Well, so here are the problems that are associated with diabetes. It's the leading cause of blindness. It's the leading cause of kidney failure, leading cause of amputation, increases the risk of heart disease and stroke 2 to 4 times. So all of these together, you now imagine 1/3 of the population having this and developing, the number of people that are going to potentially go blind, need dialysis, have amputations, is just going to be astronomical. We can't afford that kind of consequences, not only for the health of our society, but in this increasing time of economic concerns, think of what the costs of this will be. How will you care for all these people? We just simply can't do it. So that's where this tsunami is coming, that so many people are going to have diabetes. And already, the majority of Americans, 2/3 of Americans, are overweight. And that's fueling this epidemic. And this isn't just in the US, this is worldwide. So the statistics I described are happening everywhere, and particularly in the developing world where the numbers are really shooting up. So if you look at China and India, they have the most cases of diabetes now, and they're going to completely explode in the next generation. They won't even, it will completely threaten any economic plans that those countries have if they don't get a handle on this. So the conversation that I'd like to have today is really what's at the root of some of these problems, what can we do. I'll highlight a little bit of what's happening here at Penn State because we're very interested in this problem. We've created the Penn State Institute for Diabetes and Obesity that brings together researchers, clinicians, students, scientists from all across Penn State University to harness our energy to attack these problems that are going to affect every one of us one way or the other in the future. And so we have research that just to highlight a few areas, and I'll bring more in as we sort of talk. We've got world-class research on nutrition and what are the nutritional factors, what are the right foods to eat, how can foods be more effective in even using as treatments for the disease. And for prevention, and in fact, there's a study going on looking at pistachios and eating pistachios and how that may have lower risk for people with diabetes in terms of cardiovascular health. And I think there's actually somebody here recruiting that you can run into later after the program. That's my little advertisement I was asked to give. But we have a host of studies looking and research looking at the nutritional aspects. A lot of basic science work, understanding the molecular mechanisms. What is the connection between obesity and diabetes? Why does excess fat cause diabetes? What leads to excess fat? How are there changes in people's taste as they gain weight that fuels obesity further? What are the mechanisms there? We're also taking this to sort of the public health sort of side of things. And how do we rearrange our healthcare system to be able to be more preventative, to really look at the whole person? And that's an area of research that I'm primarily interested in, is how do we retool our healthcare system? Because essentially our healthcare system is really designed in the last century when most people died of acute causes. It was basically infectious diseases. And so the system was set up for, you're sick, you go to the doctor, you get medicine, you go home, you're better, and you show up next time you're sick. And that worked really well when most people died of infectious diseases. Now, most people die of chronic illnesses, diabetes and obesity being amongst the most common causes of death.